I kicked him out. How do you think he felt? There's a piece of it that narcissist feels like bad as far as like I just lost control over you. Not like, oh, I feel bad because I did something wrong and I want to fix it. Because you don't see a narcissist actually want to do the work. A lot of times people ask me, like, do I work with narcissists? So I work with a lot of survivors of narcissistic abuse, like 95%. I work with like 5% narcissists, and about 1% of those even come back. Okay. Because a lot of times they're not willing to do the work. When I actually figured out the lies that I believed, I wasn't willing to do the work. I learned about them. I saw that there was something wrong. I saw that there was a difference, but I wasn't willing to actually show up and do the work on a consistent daily basis. So as a result, my wife left. She was like, "You say you're doing the work. You're going to counseling. You're in therapy. You're doing the weekly work stuff, but I don't actually see the change." So she left. If you don't see your partner being honest, vulnerable, and showing consistent change, you need to leave because you're not actually in a healthy relationship. You're in a fantasy, a fiction. Okay. Deceit, lies, manipulation, abuse, that's what I saw, absolutely. You see that stuff, and that's when you need to leave. That's when you need to start making an exit strategy. 36 years of marriage, raising 2 kids in this environment, my reaction to my husband's behavior is the problem in my family. If I left and raised my kids alone, they would be in truth. 100%, 100%. I want to know more about a narcissist with a love addiction. It's interesting because what do you define as love? I've seen a lot of narcissists with sex addictions, but I couldn't say that a narcissist has a love addiction. Now, say that, but then when we talk about narcissistic personality disorder with the DSM-5, it talks about being attracted to this idea of ideal love. Okay, so there can be this piece of like, hey, I want to see this ideal love. I'm looking for the perfect partner. There's not going to be a love addiction as far as like true honest love, deep connection with another person. I'm convinced I'm in a narcissistic relationship. None of my emotions are ever heard. There's constantly belittling, blaming, lying. 100%. Like that's exactly up the same alley of narcissism. If you're not sure if it's narcissistic, like reach out for help. Would love to be able to help. Can you please help? Absolutely. I can meet with people one on one. You can go to rawmotivations.com. We've got a lot of people that I work with one on one inside of our Thriver community. Like as a way to help you actually grow and change and develop who you are. Because until you change, nothing's going to change. Like the narcissist isn't going to change. Like he's not going to change and radically modify himself until you actually say you're going to leave. Then it's like, oh, let me go ahead and do something different because all my manipulation isn't working anymore. So then they're going to try to change stuff up on you. Okay, but you need to understand that the narcissist is typically not going to be changing anything unless it's manipulation, unless it's a facade. He did not want to go to counseling. 100%. Narcissists don't want to go to counseling. Why would I want to go pay someone to tell me that I'm wrong? Okay, like that's the thought process. Now, people are like, well, what about you? Okay, I've been in therapy now for going on 3 years, 6 months of EMDR, 2.5 of regular therapy, and still not dumping that anytime soon because it's needed for me to continue to grow, change, heal, and develop. No contact for a year and a half. He confessed everything when he said he wanted a divorce. The best thing I've ever done. No contact. 100%. 100%. I told my husband he had narcissistic traits. Ooh, how'd that go? I was a little nervous to do that. You want to go couple counseling? I'm not sure if I would, if you know that this person's a narcissist or you have a really good idea of the narcissist, I would actively say don't get it. Because until there's this piece of being willing to be honest with themselves and then being honest with you, like counseling is just going to be a shit. Like it's going to be a way for him to try to be able to put the other person against you and manipulate you even more. So be really careful going into it. The first time that I cheated, confessed it, brought it up, her tried to kick me out, a bunch of religious crap there, and also went into counseling with a religious counselor, a Christian counselor, and we walked out of that with my wife thinking that me cheating was her fault. It's a bunch of bullshit. But this is how a lot of counseling goes. This is how a lot of Christian counseling, this is how a lot of couples therapies go because they end up trying to tell you down a certain lie in a certain way so that the narcissist manipulates it so the therapist only sees a certain side and the people walk out and they're completely confused and completely lost even more. So be very careful. I'm free from a narcissist after doing one-on-ones with Ben. I'm in reality, moving forward, healing damage and rebuilding my relationships. Don't believe the future faking is there. 100%. Future faking is there just to hold on to you. The future faking is the narcissist saying, hey, promising to do something that I actually don't care about in the moment because I've never done it before, but I'm promising to do this, and they keep promising over and over and over again with no action plan and with no follow through. Okay? You need to believe this. He wants everyone to believe that I'm the problem as well. Narcissists is gonna do that. Gonna try to put all the blame on you. Like, you have to be able to look and understand, like, "Hey, this is where I am. Like, this is what's going on." Like, you have to get to a place where you know the truth because 'cause you're not gonna get it from the narcissist. You're not gonna get closure from the narcissist. You're not gonna get the narcissist to admit that he's even cheating on you. It's not gonna happen. No contact works best. Call them out on the gaslighting, manipulation, hold your ground. Yeah, 100% just be careful. Okay, like when you call a narcissist out, like if you have one that gets like violent, like rageful, then please be careful in that regard. Okay. My husband cheated, blamed it on me, even in counseling, which is why he's angry about doing. He made his side of the story look so good. 100%. This is why a lot of times you have to be very, very, very careful about doing any type of couples counseling. Okay, it's huge. Let's see. Wow, Ben, I had to leave my church because as my pastor chose to support my husband and not me and my children when I was the one tithing based on my salary. Yeah, like a lot of churches do not get this. A lot of Christians do not get this. A lot of them have no clue about narcissism and do not understand it at all. Growing up, I didn't even know anything about narcissism. I didn't even think like there like psychology and personality disorders even like existed. It just wasn't in my realm of like understanding. But it's very prevalent in a lot of churches. I just did a first video on YouTube a little while ago called Toxic Christianity 1, Part 1. I just recorded the second one. So it's gonna be interesting to see how people respond to it because like I'm like out there being like, hey, this stuff is toxic. Now, does that mean I don't believe in God? No, I do. But I don't fall into the same regimented like we have to do religion to conform to a certain image. Otherwise, we're just producing more narcissists. You understand how this in like as society so much. I told him he was a narcissist, didn't go well. Yeah, oftentimes it doesn't. He started to research narcissism and now accuse me of being a covert narcissist. Does he really believe I'm a narcissist? No, it's his defense mechanism. It's what happened. Like you accuse a narcissist of being a narcissist, and they'll come right back to you. They'll research it. They'll start to look it up. Like literally, like I hate to be able to say it this way, but that's textbook. That's textbook of how it typically happens, of what typically goes on. Narcissists don't know about their condition. They need help, but they don't know it. Yeah, and they don't care to be honest. That's the hard piece. Like, I didn't care to be honest because I was content with being the person that I was. One in my life said he changed. He cheated with me. He was drunk and had a touch phone was open, 4 hookup sites on it. He tried to do whatever he wanted. Yeah, 100%. Narcissists always do that. Like, I just want to do what I want. It doesn't really matter. Like in one sense, it's kind of a good thing that he was like that open and honest with you to actually see, so you can see the problem from that side. I think they all do. 100%. I agree with you. I think all narcissists, period. It's crazy because biblically it's the story of Saul and David. I missed the connection there. I'm so sorry. He continues to stay in contact with my family. He's angry, carrying a chip on his shoulder. He's the one that broke up a 30-year marriage and 15-year sex addiction. Why is he mad at me? He's mad because you limited his access to what he wanted. You made him look bad. You took away his money. Like all those different type of pieces. It's all because it's about him. Like you inconvenienced me. How rude of you.